Welcome back to the Hadn't Viewed Horrors podcast, where we review horror movies and horror movie franchises. I'm Rudy.
I'm Mark.
I'm Tawan.
I'm Maria.
And today we're watching Hereditary, which came out in 2018.
Come on, give us the plot summary.
Of course. So, when the matriarch of the Graham family passes away, her daughter and grandchildren unravel cryptic and increasingly terrifying secrets about their ancestry, trying to outrun the sinister fate they have inherited.
This was my first time watching Hereditary. I was kind of skeptical going in because it's the same people who made Midsomar. Well, they made this one first, and all of you told me that Midsomar was great, and I don't like that movie. Wait! You weren't on that podcast with us. Were you? Do you like that movie, Rudy?
Which one? Midsummer?
Yeah,
No, I told you I hated it.
yeah.
It's.
I fucking hate that movie.
Mhm.
But everyone told me that this movie was good. And well, this is Rudy's favorite movie. We decided after all the Chucky movies, we'd each review one of our favorite movies, and this is Rudy's favorite one, which is why he started us off. But I like this movie. What about you guys? Come on.
I love this movie. I was very hyped to see it when it first came out because it was doing its like rounds at like some of the movie festivals and stuff, and just some people I watch on YouTube were really hyping it up. And then this is also like around the time like I was super into A24, like damn near anything they released at that point I would just watch because like it was pretty much gonna be pretty, it was gonna be good. So I was pretty hyped going into this, and then I eventually saw the trailers. It looked like it looked like scary and interesting. And once I actually saw the movie, like I liked it a lot. It definitely is one of my favorites that like horror movies that I've seen. Um, I like just the subtle nature of like certain things in it. Like it doesn't like rely on like a lot of like jump scares and stuff, which isn't the worst thing like all the time in like certain movies. But in this one, it was more like cerebral, I guess you could say. Like you thinking you saw things in the background, or sometimes things actually just going on in the background, and you aren't able to like make it out fully. Like you're wondering like, oh, what's that, and stuff, and things like that. And um, also really like the cast in here. Everyone did a really good job, especially Toni Collette as the mom. She should have got an Oscar nomination for this role, to be quite honest, because she did really good. I still sometimes I still look back at her like monologue at the dinner table with the dad and the son, because like she did really good with that monologue, and I liked the way it was written. It was really good, but overall, very good movie. And glad that we could talk about this one today.
Rudy, since this is your favorite movie, what do you think about this one?
I was excited when it first came out. I seen the trailer. Then I think it had like what do you call those? Where they showed it like an early showing basically, and I was watching the reviews
Yeah,
on it.
screener.
Yeah, they were like praising the movie. It was something different, and it's considered like an indie film. So I'm a big fan of indie films, honestly, because they have more of those like cult-like references and all that. So when I watched Hereditary, the first thing that came to mind was, oh, okay, this is about witchcraft. It wasn't hard to tell from the beginning, so I loved it from start to end. I like the imagery and all that symbolism as well.
Maria.
I liked it a lot. The first time I watched it with people who actually didn't like it, but I really liked it. Like I thought, I don't know, just like the concept of it, I thought was really good. Like I liked the slow burn of it because then like the last 20 minutes, you're like, what the fuck just happened? And I really like watching the movie like again and again, like because every I feel like every time I watch it, like you notice something new and it's like those little things that keep the movie interesting enough for me to like watch it multiple times. Um Also, yeah, like the acting in the movie I thought was also really great because it was, I don't know, like the mom, like some of the scenes where she was acting crazy, she was acting real crazy. Um and then like I felt bad for the dad and like the cult members, even though they weren't doing like really crazy shit besides just standing naked, they were really fucking creepy. Um but yeah, like I loved the movie. I think I saw it the first time with people that didn't really like it. And then like the second time I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch it again. Like fuck you guys. And I watched it with people that did like it. And I just loved I remember I think the first or second time I had watched it and like we literally spent like the whole ride home just talking about it, talking about our theories, what we thought, and I really loved that. So I love this movie.
Same. It was a pleasant surprise given how much I hated Midsomar. So I dug it. It was suspenseful. It was scary. It had like the slow build kills. I enjoyed it. But what are some of your guys' favorite scenes or scenes you disliked, Rudy?
My favorite scene, but I guess it kind of is in the middle, is when the sister, I believe her name is in the movie,
Charlie.
yeah, when she's at the party with her brother Peter. I felt kind of sorry for her because I always seen her like the outcast in the movie. Like clearly she was just not all the way there in the head. But I think that was the point of the movie. But when she's at the party and she has that the asthma, the allergy attack, I mean, and spoiler alert, she gets decapitated in the car. That was my favorite scene because that was like the most intense scene ever in movie history that I've seen, especially when it involves a kid dying. So I wouldn't consider it like a favorite because clearly it's like super tragic, but it had the most like I guess suspense or whatever you want to consider it. My least favorite scene is anytime the mom was interacting. I disagree with you guys. I don't like her acting at all. I think she overdid it, and just the fact that she was like a bitch to Peter, I don't know. I just didn't like that any scene with her in it, honestly, which is pretty much the entire movie.
Tuan.
I will say for me, I do agree with Rudy that that entire sequence from decapitation to him like just driving home in like complete silence, like because he knows what happened and literally couldn't even just process what just happened to his sister just now is like that shit is crazy. Like when I first saw it the first time, because like we're in like shock and awe, like what just happened, and we're obviously like in the theater and stuff. Like if that did happen, like what, like literally, what could you do? There's nothing you could do. And then like just him that scene of him going home and then just leaving, getting in his bed, and you just hear the mom screaming like from downstairs. That was wild. Um, and besides that scene, the one where I mentioned earlier, where they were having like the dinner or whatnot, and the mom was like giving her monologue about like her the son and everything, and like how like he wasn't like appreciative and stuff. Like I really like that scene just because I did like the mom's acting a lot in the movie. Toni Collette, I liked her a lot here, and that whole monologue scene was really good, and she did a really good job in it, in the way that she like approached it and stuff. So I would say those are probably my two favorites, and I don't I don't think I had any like least favorite scenes in this movie or scenes I would say I did or didn't like. I would say the only thing that I didn't like in this movie when it comes to probably like some characters' motivations or why they did certain things, but we can probably get into that later.
Maria.
Um yeah, I also liked the scene where like her head gets like, you know, cut off or whatever. Cuz like when the first time I saw it, like I was like, "Oh my god." And then the silence that follows after that as he drives home gets into his bed, like I don't know, it was just really good because you just feel it because you're shocked and he's shocked and we're all shocked. And then just the silence, and then until like the mom finds her the next day, and then it goes through like the funeral and her, being upset about it. Um and another scene that I liked was the scene when she herself cuts her head off. I think like towards the end.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I don't know, it like even today, it gives me like
The
goose-
sound design on that scene was
yeah,
so nasty.
yes, yeah, because you just hear it just goes. Oh,
You
I'm not
just
gonna
hear like
do it.
crunching, and it just sounds disgusting.
Yeah. Also, the scene actually before that when when Peter goes, well, that whole scene when she's kind of like sneaking around him and you see her
Hmm.
like up on the wall, like that scene was kind of creepy until she like chases him, and that's when like things start to pick up. And literally when he's up in the attic apologizing to her saying I'm sorry, and then it cuts to her because she's like banging on the attic door, and it's literally her banging her fucking head. That scene got me, and it gets me every single fucking time because I'm like, oh my god, this bitch is on the fucking ceiling, banging her head against this door. Where he's like hearing things in the like while he's in school, and then at one point he like his arm stretches up, and it looks like his face is just like contorting.
Hmm.
And then he just slams his head on his desk. That scene I really like too, because you're just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what's going on with this kid? And everybody around him is freaking out, and he's freaking out because afterwards he just starts screaming his head off because he's like, what the fuck just happened? Yeah, I don't think there's like any like scene that I disliked. I really, really like the movie. I feel like each scene you can like dissect and like talk about, and I love that.
Yeah, I love the classroom scene. I especially love all his classmates and teachers' reaction to him
Can he breathe?
Peter, what are you doing, man?
because that would have been my reaction. Especially that girl that was sitting in front of him, like what the fuck? Like like her face would have been my face. Like what the fuck is going on right now? Why is this kid doing this weird shit? And Tuan, you're right. The sound design on when the decapitation happened fucking haunts my dreams.
It
But
was
like
so nasty.
my all-time favorite scene was when he's in the attic and he hears something behind him and he slowly looks up and he sees his mom like sawing off her head with like that piano wire or whatever the fuck that was.
Hmm.
Like the sound of that, the look, it was so fucking crazy. And then that scene when her like headless body is just floating into the treehouse. I was what the fuck? And I loved when they used the miniatures to explain like what the mom was actually doing,
Oh
the
yeah.
like her whole like that was cool. I like that part. I don't know if there's any scene that I don't like. I don't know. Don't think there's any scene that I don't like. I feel like every scene in this movie. I didn't like that one character who played the grandmother's friend. Like
Oh Joan.
yeah, she was annoying. I just didn't. I was like, ugh, why? I know why she's here, but like, ugh, ugh. But whatever. But let's talk about some of the characters. Let's start with Annie. Rudy, what do you think about Annie?
Well, like I've stated, I wasn't a fan of Annie. I thought that she had whatever kind of grief or like she just wasn't loving herself, and so she was taking it out on her son. And even before the tragic death of Charlie, she was still like kind of an asshole, especially towards him. Like she was telling him that the only way for him to go to the party is if Charlie went along, and then the death of Charlie happens, and she just starts acting even more shittier, towards him, and just like to the family in general. So I wasn't a fan of her at all. Yeah, I can't say much about her. will I say that she was a good actress and she was like playing the role really good? Yeah, I 100% give her credit where it's due with her acting skills, because she definitely portrayed it well. But as far as her character itself, I'm just not a fan.
Maria.
Honestly, I liked Annie because I kind of feel like she was meant to be that way. Like they kind of in a way made her that way. Like in the beginning, or like towards not towards the beginning. Well, I think she was in that meeting with like when she was like talking about her grief and stuff when she had I think either lost yeah, the first time she was in when she had lost her mom, and she had kind of mentioned how I think she says how her mom basically in a way made her have Peter, and then when she had Peter, her mom was like trying to dig her claws into him, but like she didn't let her mom do that, and she always kind of thought it was because she just didn't her and her mom had a strained relationship. But I feel like deep down Annie knew what was going on, um also because um when she was like at Joan's house, she had said how one time she how she sleepwalks, and how one time she had woken up and she had put paint thinner on Charlie and Peter, and he never like let her live that down. But then like a couple scenes after that, you see her having that dream of her doing that, and she says, "I'm just trying to save you." So she was in a way she kind of because I think from what they say about the movie is that like the family technically never really had a choice. Like they were gonna die, and like Charlie, Charlie was gonna die. Peter was gonna become Charlie. He was gonna become Payment, like one way or another. And I think like every time Annie would like try to she tried to save her family, and I feel like her mom made her have like her kids, which is why she resented them so much. Because I think the mom tried to do like Annie's mom tried to do the same thing to her son, which is why he had killed himself. So she
Yeah,
needed another vessel. So she kind of, I guess, made Annie have kids, but Annie never really wanted kids. And I think she says that at some points like throughout the movie that she was trying to abort Peter, and then she was like that, and like as soon as she had Peter she like left. But then when she had Charlie and her mom got sick, she let her mom like I guess in a way take care of Charlie, but she always just had like a weird feeling about it, but she kind of just let it go. So I feel like I know she's a whiny bitch, and she is kind of a bitch, but I think like they were kind of making her be like that, like they were kind of driving her up the wall, trying to drive a wedge between their family so that it would be easier for them to kill everybody, you know.
I agree with that.
Tuan.
Yeah, I did like Andy as a character because even though she was doing like a lot throughout the movie, kind of like a lot of what Maria was just saying now is pretty true. It was kind of like set up to be that way, and whatever was gonna happen in the movie, like how the cult wanted it to go for them. So it really didn't matter like what she did. It was gonna end the same way because it was set to be that way for the most part, and how the cult wanted things to go for them. And she was just she was literally a pawn in a game. Like she couldn't do anything. She was literally a pawn in the game, and there was no way for her to get out of this situation she was in as much as she was trying to. And because of all the stuff that happened in the past with her mom, her brother, everything like that, it all just compounded into like the situation that we got with Charlie and stuff. Now, I did mention earlier, like there are some things that I didn't like about certain characters' motivations. Like there was no reason for Charlie to go to that party. She really just wanted to do that, just like it's like one of those like mom things, you know, like moms like slightly like not like spite you, but like they try to give you like ultimatum, like, oh, you want to do this, okay, you're gonna do this. Oh, you want to go to the party, you got to take your sister with you, and it's like there's no reason for Charlie to go to this party. You like she doesn't even want to go anyway, but like because of like the way that everything was set up, it was gonna happen anyway. Because like if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't have saw the like the symbol for the coat and stuff on the road and things like that on the way there to the party. So like it was set up to happen anyway, but like the character motivation for it um, made it seem like really worse than it was. But like her grief and everything, she's just been grieving like her whole life. Like she like her brother died because of like her family, and then like I don't remember if they did mention what possibly happened to their dad, like Annie's dad in the movie. If they did, I personally forgot. But yeah, it was just like she's had like a life of grief like all this time, and really just been trying to like find ways to like deal with how to handle it. And she just like the only thing she could do to really get around it was doing like her art or her miniatures and whatnot. But even that started like becoming like weird once things started getting crazier throughout the movie, and she like was using like her art to like rebuild the accident and stuff and things like that. And it was just becoming very weird as things got like further along with like her art and like her character and everything. And there was just certain things you couldn't really get around in in her situation because of how everything was set up. So it's like I want to place like some blame, but like I can't place the blame because her mom was doing gonna do this deal with the Paimon devil regardless.
Very true. What about Steve? What do you think about Steve?
Oh, the husband.
Yes, the husband.
Oh man, I felt bad for that man. He didn't deserve any of that. He was actually trying to be helpful. Like you know, some horror movies like it's like especially like movies like these where it's like possession and stuff like that. The spouses sometimes dip out of there, and but he was trying to be as helpful as he could because like obviously none of them knew what was going on, but he just thought like his wife was like grieving in an incredibly amount way, which is understandable because she just lost her mom, and then both of them now just lost their child, their youngest child at that. So it was incredibly hard to deal with, and he was trying to do the best he could, but like nothing was helping, and it was you know I keep going back to this like it was just set up to be that way, and it sucks because like you can't even, I don't even like I don't think you could have changed any of like the events that happened. Now if he did leave, I doubt anything would have happened to him because he wasn't like blood to the family, so nothing would have happened. He was honestly just like a byproduct getting killed the way he did in the movie, which was unfortunate because you could tell he was like a loving husband and was just trying to do right in whatever way he could, and also protect his son, his only child left at this moment, because the mom is like grieving like really hard.
Rudy, what do you think about Steve?
Yeah, I agree with Tawan. I clearly we know who wore the pants in the household, and it wasn't him. Um, there's not much to say. I feel like he was just there, like supporting acts. You get me? Like he was like the supportive dad, but also like as his role, he was just there. I feel like his wife took over, the spotlight, and I felt bad for him because of what happened to him at the end of the movie. Um, I don't really think it's so weird because he didn't show as much remorse, or like he wasn't as devastated as his wife was when Charlie passed away. I'm not sure if I'm wrong or not, but from what I recall, he wasn't showing much emotion. He was trying to be supportive for Peter, but yeah, don't have much to say about him either.
Maria.
Yeah, I agree. He was literally just there, trying to keep his family together, trying to help his wife go through her grief, trying to keep like, his he was literally taking care of the whole family. Like it was literally just, him keeping everyone together. And I feel like it was literally just like such bad luck that he ended up marrying into a family like this. Like he definitely did not deserve anything. I wish like maybe he, because I don't know, with all this shit that would have been going on, I definitely, yeah, like what Rudy said, definitely a lot of, or to I forgot who said it, I'm so sorry. But like people like I would have left. I would have been like, there's a lot of crazy shit happening. Fuck this, like I'm leaving. But he didn't. He literally stayed and helped. Like he tried so hard to help. And it wasn't only until the end where he was just tired of her shit and then just for him to die. I was like, I felt so bad for him. Like he was such a nice guy.
Yeah, the husband was just there. The most exciting thing that happened that involved him was when he was set on fire, which is also one of my
No.
favorite scenes. I forgot to mention. It's actually one of my favorite scenes when she just like threw the book into the fire and he just combust. I was like, what the? I was not expecting that. Not expecting that at all. But yeah, that's about it. But I liked Peter. I was rooting for Peter. I expected Peter to be the sole survivor of the family.
In a
What do you
sense,
think?
was.
Yeah, yeah. But what do you think about Peter, Rudy?
Like in my dreams or during the movie. I'm kidding.
Oh my.
Peter, he was an interesting character. I'm not gonna lie. Aside from the shit that I've said, that I have a crush on Peter, even though he's a little slow, or whatever. It's interesting because his seeing him from like this vibrant, well, not so much vibrant, but like he was a half normal guy in the beginning of the movie till everything. Like I keep bringing back Charlie, but she plays a big role in everyone's lives apparently. So after her death, Peter started changing, and when I watched the movie for the first time, I was trying to understand why he was like so. He was acting like he was traumatized, which obviously, I mean, come on, your sister passed away in your car, but he wasn't say like he just didn't know what to say. He didn't know how to act, so I was confused. And then I started realizing that once Charlie passed away, that's when everything started happening and got more intense with his character. And in a way, I think that's when the curse that the grandma did or whatever it was, the cult, they were using him as like bait, basically, which we see at the end of the movie. That's my interpretation, by the way. So Peter's character overall, he helped mold the movie the way it was supposed to be molded, if that makes sense. So yeah, I love his
Yeah, it
character.
does. What do you think about Peter, Maria?
Honestly, to me, Peter felt kind of like his dad. Like he was kind of just there and things were kind of just happening to him. I mean, not I did like his character. I loved his character. But I felt like the cult was like dragging this poor boy, trying to expel his soul and putting, Charlie's soul into him. It felt like kind of how I feel about the dad. Like he just had such bad luck to be born into a family like that. Like he was literally in high school, he had a girl he liked. He was out here just trying to have fun. And then the whole thing with Charlie happened. And then after that, yeah, that's when the cult started to like really like go in on him, trying to, to kill him and to like expel his soul and to bring Charlie's soul back. And that's when all these things were happening to him, because I think afterwards, yeah, like how Rudy said, like things got really intense for him. And you can kind of see it because he was having a lot of like panic attacks, and he was like always anxious after that, and he was always just like on edge. But like he literally kind of basically did nothing. Like he was just existing, and they just threw all the shit at him. So I felt so bad for him. I feel bad for him the way I feel bad for the dad, because they were literally just there, but then they started doing all this shit to them. So yeah, that's what I think about Peter.
Twan, what about you?
Yeah, I also agree with Maria. Like Peter was just born into the wrong family because um, the way they was set up, like we know like they were trying to go for like the firstborn, but like Annie mentioned in the movie, she really didn't let her mom like get close to Peter, so that's why she said like she gave her Charlie or whatever. So um, Peter was eventually gonna get taken in some form by the cult. But they just like did it in a different way by using Charlie as like the spirit, and then Peter is like the vessel. And it's just so crazy because just like from other like movies that not like exactly like this, but like for like a possession to happen, like someone has to be at like either like a down point or like really like beat down to a point where they can like get their body possessed, and that's literally what they did. They made this boy go crazy until like he was at like his wits end, and then just decided to try to kill himself to get away from it, and then that's how they were able to like take him over and everything. And that's just it was just so sad because like everyone at that point in time is dealing with grief. He's dealing with the grief that he like killed his sister in a way. Like the mom's dealing with the grief of her mom and her daughter, and dad dealing with the grief of the daughter. So like everyone's like it was just like bad energy. So it was just like easy for everything to like fester into what it turned into. And Peter just so happened to be the son that was gonna get like taken over by Paimon and get the worst of it. Like towards the end and stuff. So it was just really crazy. Felt bad for him throughout most of the movie. Like I was seeing like some people where they said like Peter was like an asshole or whatnot, but like honestly he was just acting like a teenager to be quite honest with you, somebody in high school. So like his behavior like checks off for like high schoolerish behavior and whatnot, like smoking, just wanting to chill like that. But really felt bad for him throughout like most of his scenes, and he got the worst of it. Like that scene where he like you guys mentioned earlier, he's in the classroom like bashing his head on the desk, and like how his face was like contorted and shit. It looked so bad on him, like and like it was just like an out of body experience that he didn't know what happened. Like, and he just had to like get taken out to school and everything, and go straight home. And then well, that's where we got to the end of the movie. And even once he got home, he saw like even worse shit: dad being on fire, mom cutting off her head, the fucking naked cult members in the attic and stuff. It was bad for Peter, but overall, I did was it, I don't know if it was Alex or Nat Wolf. I get them confused. They because they're brothers, they look alike, but whichever one.
It's Alex.
Alex.
Nat
Okay.
was a Nat was in a Fault in Our Stars.
Okay. So yeah, Alex. He did good in this role. He was really good here. He sold it perfectly. Um, to be honest, I probably would have did the same thing that he did towards the end. Probably sooner, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I felt I wanted Peter to survive, but you know who didn't survive was Charlie. Maria, what did you think about Charlie and her rolling head?
Why are they two separate things? Poor Charlie. I I felt bad for Charlie. Like, well, the whole like, because I know there's like, because Charlie technically is payment. Like Charlie is technically, um, technically a king of hell or whatever payment is, and I don't know. Like, I liked her character. I feel like she played that very well. Because I mean, the whole like, first of all, when she cut off the head of that pigeon, I was like, oh my god, you know, she's just cutting that shit up. Um, I don't know. I liked Charlie. Like well, that whole head scene was a lot. I did not expect them to show us the head. The first time I
Oh
saw
yeah.
that, yeah, I was like, oh my god. And then when she comes back as a ghost and she starts like freaking out, she was like, what's going on? Um like I started to feel bad for her or him or payment for whatever. I felt bad for her, because it's like because technically, I guess yeah, Charlie is technically supposed to be payment, but they've still only understand so much in the world that it felt like they were also kind of just dragging her around, for her to kind of fit the mold that they want her to fit. And it was just like it was kind of sad, because they that whole the cult literally just fucked this family over. They literally just treated them however the fuck they wanted to, just to get whatever they wanted, and without regards to like anyone. Um, because also like that scene where like at the end where Charlie's soul goes into Peter, and they're like telling her like, hey, like your payment, and this is you're in your rightful body, but she's like crying, she's tearing up, and they're like, no, don't cry. And it's like she literally sees her dead grandmother, her headless grandmother on the floor, her headless mom on the floor. I can't imagine what she's thinking being in her brother's body. Like it must have been a lot. I mean, I get it, like again, she's from what I read is that she is technically like payment, which is why they specifically picked her like to play Charlie, because it's supposed to kind of show that she was in the wrong body. But I just felt bad for her, like she was just another pawn for the cult, really.
Rudy.
Hmm. Charlie, Charlie, Charlie. I felt so bad for that little girl since when I first seen her in the movie. Um, I was trying to understand what was her issue though. Like they never really explained if she was like. See, I'm trying to find a like the term to use for her. But like, was she like autistic or was she just like not to sound bogus because it's obviously. I just wanted to legitimately know why she was the way she was. She was a strange kid. She was pretty much a loner.
I think it's because of what the grandmother was doing to her.
She enjoyed cutting off, fucking bird heads, and like, who knows? It might be the grandma situation too, but she was just a strange kid, and I think that's what caused me to gravitate more towards her because I wanted to understand where she was coming from, like, what was her background, like, why is she the way she is? So, not really like saying that I feel sorry for her, but I did want to know her more. She seemed interesting to me. So unfortunately, she didn't have much screen time. If you think about it, it was just like the first half of the movie, and then she's gone. I don't even think it was half of the movie. So I can't say much about Charlie, but I will say that she was also what molded the movie to be what it was molded to be. Because without her and her brother Peter, the movie wouldn't really be good because they were both needed for everything that the grandma was trying to do to successfully work. So yeah.
Tuan, what are your thoughts on Charlie?
Yeah, Charlie is just I was like everyone else. I felt bad for like Charlie throughout like her time in the movie. Um, like when I first was my first watch of the movie, like when they were um like showing out the characters and stuff, and we saw her like cut the head off the bird or something. I thought like we were going to like murderous child territory, like she was gonna like be terrorizing them or something. Like that's where I thought we were going. Usually those are like like signs you see for like a kid who's about to like do some bad shit. And I was like, oh, well, we're going in that territory and then something like that. But then we get to the party scene and then like the decapitation. I'm like, oh, we are going in like a completely different direction here with this movie and story and like these characters. But um, Charlie was like, I don't know much to say about because like think William Marie mentioned like she wasn't in the movie that much, but like her character still made an impact because like she was like the catalyst for setting everything else up or getting everything else set up for it to like how like for it to go how it ended in the movie. And I do remark I think because it's a lot to do with the grandma and how like she was like you like molding her in a sense to kind of like be that vessel for like Paimon and eventually like take over like their cult and be like their gateway in a sense to like this other like plane of existence or whatever. And it was really weird. And I like just like that scene where it's like she did come back for a second, like we were hearing her talk. Like I know she had to be like scared as hell because like besides like everything else that happened, like this girl's dead, and now she's like being taken up to be like a new leader of this cult that she's been basically indoctrinated in by her grandma for since she was born, basically. So it was really weird to see, and also that little tick she did throughout the movie. That shit. Well, after I saw that movie I heard like like my friends would do that tick. That shit irked me out for like a week because it was like really creepy, especially like in the movie when Peter heard it after she had died like out of nowhere. That was creepy as fuck.
Yeah, I love the little tick, and apparently the little tick was that's what Payman did when he was like sneaking up to control Charlie.
Well, from what I read, or from I guess it's probably a theory, but like technically Charlie is Paimon. Like she wasn't a vessel; she was actually like Paimon. There's like she was born as him. Like they were technically the same person, which is why they never put a name as to why she is the way she was. And the way I guess that's why they picked someone who looked a little different, was to kind of show that like yeah, the soul doesn't fit the body. Like he's in the wrong body. So technically Charlie is Paimon. Like they're the
Mm,
same person. Like she wasn't a vessel, she was actually him. But because she was in the wrong gender, that's why technically it was a failure. And that's why they had to put Charlie's soul, Charlie slash Paymon's soul into Peter, which is, because Charlie is Paimon, which is also why she was cutting off like heads, because Paimon actually has like an affinity for heads, which is why like the grandma's head was missing and the mom had cut off her head too, and why Charlie was had like an obsession with heads, because she's Paimon and Paimon has like it's just something with heads. I forgot what I read it somewhere, but it has like something to do with like heads, that he like I guess like the actual like if you like read up lore on it, it like talks about it. But yeah, but technically like Charlie is Paimon, and that's why she's weird. That's why she's a little different. Um that I guess like her drawings kind of show it best, that she just viewed the world really differently, and that was because she wasn't actually like I guess the best way to explain it, she wasn't actually human. She was Paimon, but because she was in the wrong body, that technically it didn't work, which is why they were trying to put her soul into Peter's body. So that way it fits, and that way the cult can get the rewards that they would have gotten for bringing Paimon into the world.
mm.
Yeah, fucking cult. What is with this guy in cults?
I thought it was so interesting. I was like, because I thought it was so interesting because like it's not like they were trying to like, like bring some like demon from the underworld and use somebody as a vessel. Like they literally brought this man, made him into a baby, into a person, and then they're like, oh, we kind of fucked up a little bit, but we're gonna improvise right now. And then they killed off the whole family. Like it was just so interesting to me. Like the cult, it would have been nice to know a little bit more of how they played the families so well and what they did. And honestly, every time I watch it, I see a little bit more of their influence, and it's fucking crazy. But I don't know. I really like this movie. I love talking about it and like dissecting it because it's
Yeah.
so interesting.
Well, we come to our last character, Rudy. What do you think about Joan?
Joan is conniving and she's a snake. And I say that in like the best way ever because that bitch literally did all that and like tried to be friends with what's her face, Annie, and tried to like talk her into all this shit of how she like communicate with her daughter or whatever. But I mean, we all know the truth of why she was doing it. So I didn't like her. I thought she was gonna be like one of the good ones too when I first seen the movie, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know, she met like a psychic friend, blah blah blah. But then towards the end of the movie, when I found out she was involved in this whole cult thing, I'm like, oh, this sneaky bitch. So I don't like her. I don't like. I mean, I guess she meant well. She was being a good friend to the grandma, if you want to see it that way. But this bitch, I'm sure she had to do with the death of Charlie. You know, like she probably wanted everything to happen the way it did for it to, like I said, successfully work the way that the grandma wanted it to work. So I just don't think that she. I like her acting. She did her really good. She did her justice. But Joan as a character, just like Annie, I don't fuck with her because she's manipulative.
Maria.
Yeah, like I get what Rudy's saying, that she's like manipulative, but she played that part so well. Like I really thought she was a grieving grandma, and she just wanted the best for Annie. And literally when you watch the like watching the movie multiple times, you start like the stuff she says. Like I think she had mentioned how like her son and her grandson died. And I'm like, did they die by accident or did you kill them, Joan? So I don't know, like yeah, she's a crazy bitch. Like she got them so well. Like I honestly thought that she was like a grieving grandma until towards the end where you can see her start to get a little frustrated with Annie. I think like specifically the scene where Joan shows Annie about the seance, and Annie's freaking the fuck out, and Joan's like, "Why the fuck you freaking out, bitch? Like what do you mean?" Like, and you could see in her face, she was like, "What?" Like she was like annoyed that Annie was reacting the way she was, but it's such like a common reaction. I feel of anybody that it was. It's like you can see little like chinks into like her like facade of like the way she was trying to present herself to Annie. Um, Yeah, no, she was. She, I don't know. I don't particularly like Joan, but I think the first time I watched it, I was just not suspecting her at all. Like, and then, but once like watching the movies, like the movie again and again, you kind of start to realize, like, yeah, like you start to notice her more in the background, and you start to see more of like her influence. But I mean, I just feel like if I was in Annie's shoes, she would have definitely would have gotten me. Like I would have been like, "Oh my god, you're grieving too? We're both grieving," and she would have gotten me real good.
Oh no. What about you, Tuan?
Yeah, Joan, hate her. I wish everything on her downfall. Like she could choke because she didn't even have to do all that. Like when the first watch, everything with Joan up until like that first seance, I was like, never mind everything about this lady because now she's being weird now. Like y'all like I get Annie was like grieving, like, of course, like she met this person during like grief counseling, everything like that. But to just randomly like bring up a seance and stuff to try to like talk to them, like that's I would have just left after that. I'd be like, you know what, never mind. We don't need. I don't think I want to do that. We don't need to talk to each other. But just the way that she was going about like everything and like you agree with Maria and Rudy, like before all of that, like she just seemed like a nice lady, just trying to like help someone out. I was like, okay, Annie, get a little friend or something. Like she deserves a little something. Like I don't know, like just even the slightest hint of a win at this point. But nope, everything just like everything else in the movie was like set up so that it could go down the way it did towards the end. And Joan was just someone to be there who was an outside force who could influence the rest of them without any of their knowledge into it. And she did a damn good job in her role because I bet Paymon gave her all the little riches for doing what she did after that because she played a role. She was acting while acting, like basically.
Joan was evil. She was the setup queen. But now that we're done talking about all the characters, I have a little behind the scenes. Now, this movie was made on a budget of $10 million, and they made in the box office $80.2 million. So they definitely made all their money back and some. Uh, Ari Astar, he originally pitched his movie as a family tragedy. He didn't want to make a horror movie. He wanted to make a family tragedy that just happened to have horror elements in it, and I think he succeeded because
Agreed.
this movie is depressing as shit.
Oh yeah.
But the script reflects a real life incident from 2004 that happened in Georgia when John Kemper Hutcherson accidentally decapitated his childhood friend while in the passenger seat, Frankie Braum. Ugh, he hit a telephone pole after Frankie had his head outside of the goddamn car, and they were driving down. Frankie wasn't feeling good, so he was just stick his head out the car window to just like get some air, calm down, and he got his head chopped off. But the head fell back into the car, and the guy John Hutcherson who was driving, he drove all the way home with the headless corpse and the head in the car, and he fell asleep parked outside. It wasn't until the next day when someone was walking their baby that they noticed the headless body in the car with the driver asleep at the wheel, and
God
they
yeah.
called the cops. Like, what the fuck? Now, the critics' reaction to this currently has 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. Rolling Stone gave the movie a 3.5 out of 4, saying that it was the scariest movie of 2018. The AV Club gave the movie an A minus, saying that it is in seriousness and have it is seriousness and hair raising craftsmanship, a downright perfect horror movie. But what do we think? Are we cashing or are we passing on Hereditary? Rudy, since this is your favorite movie, cash or pass on Hereditary?
I'm definitely cashing all the way. Um, I and the reason why, sorry, I'm gonna keep it brief, is because it's like an elevated horror. It's more so of a psychological horror, if not drama. Like you stated, that it wasn't meant to be a horror movie, but it does have horror elements, and it's something that people that have had tragedies in their families can relate to. Except the cult part, obviously, but you know what I mean. Like, it did focus more on the mom and her.
I said some people can't relate to the whole cult family part.
That is
So
true. But it's common for someone close to you to pass away. Is what I'm saying. So when she loses her daughter, and the brother loses his sister, and etc., it's like it hits home. And like you said, the movie is depressing, and that's why, because of the atmosphere, the vibe from everyone's, um, how do you say it? Like their just their aura, their aura, their presence, their emotions are out there. So, and I highly recommend it to anyone who hasn't watched it, just because it's something that hits home on different levels.
torn, cash or pass.
Definitely giving Hereditary a cash. Love this movie. I saw it a good amount of times when it was in theaters because I saw it. Funny enough, I saw it first. Like I took my mom to see it the first time I saw it because we just like she likes seeing movies with me at theaters because like she'll see stuff she wouldn't have like saw like herself. And surprisingly, she liked this one. So like after I saw this one, anyone who my friends like who hadn't seen it yet, I was like, "You want to go see Hereditary?" Because I'm like, I wanted to see it again, but also I wanted somebody else to see it because I'm like, I need somebody to talk about this with. So I saw it a good amount of times, got it on DVD and stuff, and definitely gets a cash in my book. Very good movie. I recommend it anytime to anyone who hasn't seen it. And yeah, like I agree. It definitely takes like the family drama first, and then like the horror element second. But just due to like the situation and like how things are set up, those horror elements come kind of naturally to it. So it works in the movie's favor for the way that Ari Aster set it up.
Maria, cash or pass?
Definitely Cash. I have the movie. um, it was just a good movie. Like I really, it's a good movie to talk about. I really enjoyed the slow burn of it. I really enjoyed trying to figure out the movie along the way. Um, it definitely, yeah, like I think the way you had mentioned it before, how he wanted to do like a family tragedy with some horror elements. Yeah, that's definitely what it feels like. He definitely feel like he upped the horror a little bit more though, but I like it a lot. Like I enjoy that movie, and every time I watch it, I notice something new, and I love that. I like the fact that I'm not watching the same movie each time. It's like I'm watching the movie with like fresh eyes, different knowledge, and then you notice something new, and you're like, "Oh shit, that's fucking crazy." Um, yeah, I love this movie. Will recommend it to everyone. Um, it's just something that I just like it's a movie that really gets you thinking and it gets you talking, and it's and there's just so many theories you can come up with, and I love that.
And for me, I give it a cash. I love this movie. It was scary. It was suspenseful. It was intense. There was thriller. There was good acting. There were characters I hated, but that's because it was good acting. I loved the direction. I loved everything. Even though at the end it got a little folk horror-y, but it was saved for the last like 10 minutes, so it didn't ruin the experience for me. So it's a cash all the way. We gave it a we just threw all our money at this movie. It was good. I loved it. We loved it. But next week we are continuing the train of reviewing the host's favorite movie, and we're gonna do my favorite movie next week, House of Wax. Now, I know technically this is a remake, and I've said several times on this show that I hate remakes, but they're an exception. That original movie came out in 1953. That's a good like 60 years in between, 60 to 70 years in between the two movies, and it's completely different because that first movie is set in a fucking wax, like it's actually set in a wax museum. That's the whole movie, and it's weird as shit. So it's complete. It's disconnected enough where I enjoy House of Wax, and I hope the three of you enjoy House of Wax if you've never seen it before. Have you guys seen it before?
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I think I have.
Maria, oh, if you've seen it before, Maria, you would remember it because it has Paris Hilton in it. It also has one of those supernatural boys in it. So it was the cast of like who's who in the 2000s. So join us next week as we review The House of Wax. Goodbye.
The Haddonfield Horrors podcast is a Letters to Media production.
Should we do an intro?